Hello, preschoolers. Mrs. Hales here with another art lesson. Today I'm going to show you how to do two different bear projects related to the book Bear Snores On. I love this book, Bear Snores On, because I love to think about a bear hibernating for the winter and all of his friends joining him in there. Now, in Virginia, bears don't normally hibernate because we don't get cold enough here for them to need to hibernate usually. But in places like Alaska or Maine, places where it's north, Canada, places up north where it gets much colder for a much longer time, certainly bears would need to hibernate in those places. A friend of mine is going to read the book Bear Snores On to you, and then I'm going to show you how to make two different art projects related to bears.
Bear Snores On by Carmen Wilson, illustrations by Jane Chapman, kids' book read aloud. In a cave in the woods, in his deep dark lair, through the long cold winter sleeps a great brown bear. Cuddled in a heap, with his eyes shut tight, he sleeps through the day and he sleeps through the night. The cold winds howl and the night sounds growl, but the bear snores on. An itty-bitty mouse, pitter-pat, tiptoe, creep-crawls in the cave from the fluff-cold snow. Mouse squeaks, "Too damp, too dank, too dark," so he lights wee twigs with a small hot spark. The coals pip-pop, and the wind doesn't stop, but the bear snores on. Two glowing eyes sneak a peek in the den. Mouse cries, "Who's there?" and a hare hops in. "Ho, Mouse," says Hare, "long time no see." So they pop white corn and they brew black tea. Mouse sips wee slurps. Hare burps big burps, but the bear snores on. A badger scuttles by, sniffs in the air. "I smell yummy yums, perhaps we can share." "I've brought honey nuts," Badger says with a grin. "Let's divvy them up, cozy down and dig in." And they nibble and they munch with a chew, chomp, crunch, but the bear snores on. A gopher and a mole tunnel up through the floor, then a wren and a raven flutter in through the door. Mole mutters, "What a night!" "What a storm!" twitters Wren, and everybody clutters in the great bear's den. They tweet and they titter, they chat and they chitter, but the bear snores on. In a cave in the woods, a slumbering bear sleeps through the party in his very own lair. Hare stokes the fire, Mouse seasons stew, then a small pepper fleck makes the bear achoo! He blows and he sneezes and the whole crowd freezes. And Bear wakes up. Bear gnarls and he snarls. Bear roars and he rumbles. Bear jumps and he stomps. Bear growls and he grumbles. "You've snuck in my lair and you've all had fun, but me, I was sleeping and I have had none." And he whimpers and he moans, he wails and he groans, and the bear blubbers on. Mouse squeaks, "Don't fret, don't fuss, look, see, we can pop more corn, we can brew more tea." Bear gulps, bear gobbles, he sighs with delight, then he spins tall tales through the blustery night. When the sun peeks up on a crisp, clear dawn, Bear can't sleep, but his friends snore on.
For the first project, we're going to be making this sweet little sleeping bear head. For this project, you need a paper plate, some tan or brown construction paper, or you could color some paper tan or brown, some white paper tan or brown with a tan crayon. And you need a black crayon or oil pastel. You need scissors and some glue. And you need brown paint and a place to mix your paint, so like maybe another paper plate or a mixing cup. If you don't have brown paint, you can use red, yellow, and blue paint. I'm going to show you how to make brown paint, and you need a paintbrush. I didn't have brown paint, so on my paper plate, I'm gonna take equal parts red, yellow, and blue and mix them together with maybe a little bit more yellow. If it starts to look green, that means you have too much blue and yellow, so add a little bit more red. If it starts to look purple, you need to add a little bit more yellow. And you should have a nice medium brown when you get all this mixed up. So mix up a big puddle and then start painting your plate. I painted the back of my plate because my plate has designs on the inside and it's coated with this shiny stuff that the paint doesn't like to stick to. But the back of my plate wasn't coated with anything and it doesn't have any designs on it. So I painted the back of my plate and I let that dry for about 10 minutes. And this is what it looks like when it's almost dry. While it's drying, I'm gonna cut out a folded piece of paper or two kind of little mound or mountain shapes. I fold my paper and cut out two at the same time. Remember, when you're cutting, you're turning the object that's in your left hand, not the hand that has your scissors, but the other hand. And then I cut out a big snout or nose shape, kind of like a rounded triangle shape. Now I want to glue, once my head is dry, I'm going to glue my ears to the back of my plate. You can use Elmer's or a glue stick. And I'm going to arrange those where I want them before my glue dries. And then I'm going to draw a sweet nose and a mouth on this, the bear's muzzle, I'll call it. I'm using a black oil pastel so you guys can see it, but you can use a black crayon as well. I just wanted to use something that would show up really dark. And then I'm going to glue that under his little sleeping eyes that I drew. You want to put glue all around your edges. Don't use too much glue. And there is my sweet sleeping bear, my hibernating bear for winter. This next project is the bear waking up from being in his cave all winter. So it's a bear in his cave. Now, I use for this project brown crayon, black crayon, white piece of paper, and you can really color the snowy sky in the background with, you can color it with crayon, you can use watercolor paint, you can use tempera paint, you could use whatever you wanted. I wanted it to look like the wind was blowing and it was real snowy and breezy. So the supplies are paper, crayons, and then if you have paint, whatever paint you have is fine. And a brush, obviously, if you're gonna paint. On the bottom half of your paper, you want to draw a big upside down U, and that's going to be your bear. And then above that, you want to draw an even bigger upside down U. Then at the top of your bear's, for his head, you want to draw a circle with two eyes above it. You want to put a nose in that, two little arms or hands, and give him two ears. Remember to put his little mouth under his oval nose. Now you want to color everything brown that's on the bear. I colored his nose a lighter brown tan color. And now I've colored all of my bear brown. Now I want to color him coming out of his cave. So I want to color that. You could color it a really light tan, or you could make it black, the inside of his cave. Or you could color that cave gray. Now I'm going to take blue and white paint and I'm going to paint my paper up above my cave. And I want to paint really quick so my blue and white paint will blend and mix on my paper before they dry. If they start to dry a little bit, you could always put a little bit more water on your paper. You don't want to put too much water on your paper because that will maybe make your paper tear, but you don't want your paint to dry either. So it'd be really pretty if you had all different shades of blue mixed with white in your background to make it look like a winter, blowy, chilly sky. Another thing you could do is mix blue with white and paint your background and then go over that light blue sky with darker blue and white, and just don't mix your paint all the way in. So boys and girls, you can pick one of the bear projects to create, or you can make both. I'm going to leave you with a step-by-step guide that you can use to draw a bear. It shows you step 1, step 2, step 3. And this could really be for any kind of bear. You could use it for a polar bear or a brown bear or a black bear. I will see you next time.